I mean, it's almost impossible to avoid him, and he has enormous power because of his money, and B, his reach to people who have been persuaded over the last 5 years or so that the mainstream media hasn't covered any stories, and that the only people who've noticed anything happening in the world are people sitting in their bedrooms sending messages to each other. It's an amazing feat of deception. And I think we should have got onto him early on when he quite gratuitously called someone who was trying to help those boys in Thailand a paedophile. An American court let him off, the pedo guy. I think he thought from then on, I can say anything I like. It doesn't have to be true. It's better if it's not true, and no one will stop me. And that's what's happened.
We've seen lots and lots of powerful media figures over the decades and centuries, probably the Rothermeres and the Murdochs and so forth. But we have never had somebody like this who is tweeting, speaking in his own name several times a day, many times a night. No, I mean, and it's not merely that he's a sort of a classic social media adolescent who hasn't grown up. I mean, the temper tantrums, the lack of responsibility. Yeah, I mean, the whole business was set up by a group of ungrown-up men who are now running companies in their own image. And to see them now sucking up to Trump when they were quite happy not to suck up to him before, purely on the grounds that this is to their commercial advantage. They have no morality at all, literally none. And if we were having this conversation 48 hours ago, we would have said, well, in the end, it's only one organisation, it's only one part of social media, it's only X. But since then, Zuckerberg, who has Facebook and Instagram and Threads, has come and done exactly the same thing, saying he is going to mimic Musk, in effect. Yes, and I mean, the idea that you have this vastly powerful organisation, and about 5 minutes ago it was very important for you to have moderators and fact-checkers, and now, because you want to suck up to Trump, you don't, is appalling. And Bezos is exactly the same. His newspaper in the States has just pulled a cartoon, you can see where I'm coming from here, in which all the tech bros are seen worshipping at the shrine of Trump. And then the newspaper, oh, no, we can't publish this. It's repetitive, it's boring, we don't want to publish this. I mean, who do they think they're kidding? Yeah. We're in a sort of an era of total fatuity. This is a real problem for everyone involved in journalism and involved in politics. You either suck up to Musk, or you're abused by Musk. Neither of these things are terribly attractive. He is already tweeting approvingly what Kemi Badenoch has been saying in the House of Commons a couple of hours ago, for instance. Yes, so this goes on and on. Yes, I was very excited that he's supporting Kemi Badenoch, because that means presumably by the time most people hear this, he'll have attacked her. It is the only positive sign is that the ridiculous Musk-Farage falling out may be a preview of a Musk-Trump falling out. Well, I think that's the only possibility, is that he is going to blow up. Possibly, I mean, he's got J.D. Vance to contend with, who also thinks that he's vice president, and that's going to be an interesting one to watch. Yes, and I think Musk has just noticed that quite a lot of MAGA supporters don't like immigrants, including ones from South Africa and India and the rest of the tech boys. They don't want these visas to go through, and they're racist in a very particular way, which isn't entirely to Musk's taste. So we can't ignore him, we can't mimic him, we can only sit him out. I think you either sit him out or refuse to take him seriously, which I think is, unsurprising from me, is the best idea. I mean, there's a cartoon in this week's Private Eye in which there's a man talking to someone dressed in full SS regalia, and the SS man is saying, look, you can't just call everyone who disagrees with you a fascist. I mean, this is going to be a problem for you, however, Ian, which is that Musk is such a grotesque and weird figure and produces so much material that your entire publication is going to be Musk from beginning to end if you're not careful. Yeah, well, then we tell him to the Telegraph. Very good. No, I'm hoping that one of my problems is I've been editor a long time, and in the old days we used to break stories, and nowadays we spend half the time pointing out stories that aren't true. So when you get Musk pretending to be a champion of women and young girls, and then he calls Jess Phillips an evil witch, I mean, how's that on a scale of medieval misogyny? Is that part of it? That's straight back to the ducking stool. It's gross. Yeah. grotesque.
He is riddled with contradictions, and at some point, I am hoping that even his followers will begin to notice that from sentence to sentence, he makes no sense.